Good evening, Moonshot viewers. Welcome to the co-host dating game. Now, we've been a lot in the Renaissance here for the Moonaissance Festival, and now we are jumping to the Renaissance of the Americas, 70s television, where we've recreated the dating game show, again, from 70s television, but to help find some wonderful co-hosts. Now, we have our beautiful podcast bachelor on the show today. I'll introduce him for you. This is the GM from the Most, here from the East Coast. You can often hear him yelling, "Go Birds!" But a little birdie told me that he's looking to turn his party of one into a party of two. Jeff Stormer, welcome!
Hello! I'm excited to be here. I'm the most nervous that I've felt in months.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, what are you looking for today in a lucky co-host?
I'm looking for somebody that I can share my passion with, somebody that, appreciates the little things, somebody that loves, long recording sessions on the beach or in the studio. I'm looking for somebody, who's here for the long haul or for the exact number of episodes that are determined by our Tiltify donors.
That's a wonderful transition here, Jeff. Listeners, before we introduce our lovely co-host contestants today, let us let you know that, well, Jeff is choosing a co-host to make a mini-series with. And the number of episodes that's going to be is determined by your donations. We're starting at 3,110 donations going into this segment today. And as we get more donations during this segment, it will affect how many episodes are going to be recorded. Smudge, hi. Now's not the best time, buddy.
Smudge? Is Smudge on it? I'll make that call immediately. Fuck the other
That's fair.
three.
Unfortunately, Smudge is not one of our contestants today. He did not
Nah,
sign the waiver. He did not commit
Smudge.
to recordings. So right now, we can promise you, you will get one recording, one episode from Jeff and whoever his lucky co-host Lorette ends up being. And I can also let you know that the second episode will unlock if we get $10 more. The third episode will unlock if we get $30 more. The fourth episode will unlock if we get 60, and so on and so forth. It's like a bastardized Fibonacci sequence is what I've been calling it. But Jeff, are you ready for me to introduce our
I'm
lovely
s-
co-host Loretz?
I'm so excited. I'm the most excited that I've been all day.
Wonderful. Well, contestant number one, this podcaster is known to say "I love you" after the first recording, and they never want to be the first to leave the Skype call. No, you disconnect. No, you disconnect. Say hi, co-host number one.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Contestant number two is a full-time creative with a fondness for UFOs. Her special skill is befriending unfamiliar cats in public places. She enjoys looking at pictures of volcanoes and considers herself nice and normal with questionable taste in many things. Welcome, contestant number two.
Thank you so much for having me tonight.
And last but certainly not least, contestant number three is a fun-loving lady on the go with a bit of a critical streak. After getting off from her hot and spicy day job, she enjoys spending her evenings with a nice book and a tall drink. And, if she's feeling adventurous, a little bit of roleplay. Welcome, contestant number three.
Hi.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
Wonderful. Well, Jeff, we can get into it. You've now been introduced to our three lovely potential co hosts today. What would you like to ask them first to kick things off?
Of course. I mean, I think this is a question for all three bachelors. I'm really looking for someone with a sense of passion. How would you make our first time recording together really special? Bachelor number one.
I think that getting a good place and a sense of self is the best way to start a sexy first podcasting situation. I think that you gotta dim the lights, turn the gain up as high as it can go, and just really feel each other out. Really let the vibrations of the airwaves go a long way to making the tone of the thing sound nice and full.
Bachelor number two.
I think that it would be a nice idea to have our respective webcams on so we can make prolonged eye contact with one another to sort of give the impression of holding one another's hand from a distance, even though we aren't physically there.
Bachelor number 3.
I want to plan it out the whole way so that we can make sure that neither of us is nervous and we're both prepared for everything that we're about to go through.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful.
Ooh.
Bachelor number
Any
1.
standing out to you so far, Jeff?
All really, really great. I do love a good plan. I love a good spreadsheet. But also, like, I am also about really cranking up the gain so that our final audio file on Audacity is nice and smooth. Just smooth blue all the way across, I think is my ideal podcast waveform.
I agree.
Bachelor number 1, what internet softboy most matches your personality and why?
Ooh, that's a really tough question. I really think that no podcast is good without a soft internet boy attached to the project. I do think that I'd want to kick it old school. I also got very choked up when the meanie, the meanie Larry Sanders, is that his name? When he started choking out Elmo. So I do think that I might go old-fashioned Will Wheaton style.
Sure, great.
My.
Love that answer. Next question for Bachelor number 2. I need a co-host who can own up to mistakes. Can you read me the Notes app apology you would write after doing something really heinous?
I can come up with something on the spot, sure. I am so sorry to our audience who has been so appreciative to us for all this time, for fumbling the ball, as it were, and disappointing everybody. And we will go live again on Monday.
Great, wonderful. I appreciate the commitment to staying on schedule. That means a lot to me.
You gotta. It's so important.
The content calendar's gotta be there,
They need to know.
Bachelor number 3, when we're in the studio together, do you think it's just us, or are you open to a third?
It's time to get a little hot and spicy with maybe a producer, maybe a guest. I'll invite in as many people as we're open to, honestly.
Wonderful, wonderful. I appreciate that. As long as we don't lose that intimacy of the relationship, I think that's very important. Let's see. This is, I think, a good question.
And don't forget, Jeff, you can ask the same question to multiple contestants.
Bachelor number 1, same question.
I don't like guests. I think the podcasts are the best when nobody listens to them, and so I like to make sure that we give as little reach as possible. So I think just the two of us talking to one another, I think is really the best form of intimacy. And hey, why even tweet about it? Why even bring in other people to hear it? I think that it's just the two of us, no guests, do our own thing alone.
Love that. Love that. Love that. I mean, speaking of tweeting about it, co-host number 2. Where's the question that I was going to ask? It's on here. I have a whole list. Hold on.
Oh, take your time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I need someone who's willing to step up and take charge in our relationship. Would you be able to edit episodes or run our social media?
Sure. I've been made to run social media accounts for just about every company I've ever worked for, so I've got plenty of experience. I think I'm pretty good at crafting a tweet. I can handle it.
I believe they're called X's now. I believe they're called
my apologies.
Everything app.
I'm falling behind with the times. I'm very good at crafting an X. A zeet, is it?
Zeet.
A zeet.
Bachelor number 3. This is an important question. I'm a host who wants to be pampered. What do you think the brand deals are you'd be able to secure to help us monetize our content?
I'm thinking maybe we could go straight to the source and just get the podcast platforms themselves to advertise for us. Like, I think we start shilling for Podcast Addict, iTunes, just get every platform, make some Pinecast in there.
Bachelor number 2, same question.
Oh gosh. Anything and everything. What's the easiest to secure? Probably like BetterHelp, right? They support just about every podcast I've ever listened to. We'll start there. We'll start with the easy ones. We're going to get more granular with it. We're going to get as granular as possible until we're getting like different brain supplement brands
For sure.
supporting us.
Gotta go for
I'm
the
going to
brain
secure them all.
supplements. Gotta get brain
You
supplements.
gotta have
That's
it.
very
They're gonna
big to me.
make us. They're gonna make us so smart and fast, and we'll record the podcasts even better. I'm gonna hook us up.
Bachelor
now,
number,
Jeff,
of course.
now
Yeah.
that we've started to get to know our lovely contestants, anyone in the lead so far? Anyone calling to you?
I'm feeling an immediate connection to one of our bachelors, but I still feel like I've got a feeling out process. I've got some big questions. But I've got to say, bachelor number 2 has been very impressing me.
Thank
Ooh,
you so
well,
much.
there's still plenty of time to find
Still
out.
plenty
And
of time, still plenty of
listeners,
game.
there's still plenty of time for you to donate. At the current moment, we are still only at one episode here for
Bachelors,
Jeff and our lovely contestant.
we could get that up with a $10 donation. We could get a second episode. I mean, we could really make this a long-term partnership.
We really could.
Bachelor number, this is a question for all 3 of our bachelors. I really want to know, like, when we talk about genre, when we talk about format, when we talk about structure, I want to know what is your ideal genre? What is the topic that you feel like you've got to talk about into a microphone? And then the other half of that is, how much are we going to stick on that topic and how much are we just going to talk about our day? Let's start with bachelor number 3.
Why talk about our day when we're already so connected? I mean, let's hit it up with a little bit, maybe chatting about comic books, maybe talking about some of our favorite new roleplay systems. I think maybe even combining those a little bit, and then ending it off with a straightforward product, and nobody has to worry about how long your shower took or that crazy spider you saw or anything like that.
Really love that. Great answer. Bachelor number 1.
I think that we could really innovate in this space if we made some kind of podcast that's just 2 people talking. I think that, we don't really need to worry about genre or topics or anything like that. I think that if we're just talking to each other, we're funny enough people are going to follow and listen just for that alone.
I agree. Hey, you know what? Thank you for the compliment. That means a lot to me. I think that I'm feeling that. You know what? That gained a lot of ground. I feel like I'm somebody that appreciates words of affirmation or a big love language, and I caught that. Don't think I didn't catch that little bit of positivity there. That meant a lot. Bachelor number 2, same
You
question.
can't see it in the VTuber, but I'm winking.
Ooh, and before Bachelor number 2 answers, exciting news for you, Jeff. We're up to 2 episodes here. Thank you,
2
Rick Sarah, for
episodes.
the
Let's
$10
go.
donation.
Let's go.
Shall I answer?
Go ahead.
So I think I'm a real genre enjoyer. I'm definitely a big fan of sci-fi. I'm into horror. And I think that these things sort of soften the edges of the horrors of day-to-day life. So I would love to lean into a genre a little bit. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think it would be a pleasant distraction. And I think that's a great way to get sponsorships too, because you're not covering anything too topical.
For sure. 100%. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
that. Bachelor number 3. I'm gonna save that one for all 3 of us. I'm looking at my questions. Where are we going here? Bachelor number 3. Have you ever experimented with bringing food into the recording space? And if so, how did you prevent chewing noises from appearing on mic?
They say, how about a nice dinner beforehand? And then, if you have to bring your fucking chips into the mix, then maybe go a few feet away from the microphone.
Here's the thing. I appreciate. I feel like the flirty energy that we're all bringing, but I did appreciate barely held back visceral rage that Bachelor number 3 just brought to the table. Bachelor number 1 and 2, we're going to go the same question. I need to hear that. I need to hear that emotion. Bachelor number 1, same question.
I eat directly into the microphone at all times.
We appreciate, you know what? That's a bad boy. That's a bad boy energy, and I appreciate that. As long as I'm not editing it. Emma, I'm not editing this, right?
We'll be the third
That's
party
for
to
you two
edit.
to decide. I'm not
Oh, fuck,
involved in your
no. Oh,
relationship
God,
once
no.
it starts.
Well, okay, that changes some things.
I don't like labels like editor or producer, so I like to leave those for other people.
I understandable. Bachelor number 2, same question.
As for me, I've heard a lot about how well ASMR pays, and so I'm very happy to eat my chips directly into the microphone for the paying customers, and I think you should be comfortable with it as well.
That's professionalism, is what that is.
That's right.
Pure professionalism. We appreciate keeping your eye on the ball.
I'm trying to get us a bag.
Get that bag. Get that paper.
That's what it's all about.
Speaking of getting that paper, speaking of like going where the money is, question for all three of you. If I was brutally murdered, how would you talk about me on a true crime podcast? Bachelor number 3.
Stormer was a complicated man. A man of secrets, a man of truths, and a man of ideals. But one thing that Jeff Stormer never gave up was his sense of hope and love until the day he died brutally by gunshot.
I appreciate the specificity there. It really helped. Bachelor number 2.
You know, Jeff was a beloved podcaster, a beloved friend, well respected in the field, and also cherished by many sponsors. I will be personally getting to the bottom of his murder, and you will be seeing me on the 9 o'clock news.
That's wonderful. That's good media crossover, which I think is an important thing. We've really got to be having these crossover opportunities. Bachelor number 1, same question.
To honor the legacy of Jeff Stormer and the impressive body of work left behind, each week I'm going to team up with a new, separate, individual person, and we're going to dig into a way to get to the bottom of what happened to Jeff. We're going to do it in our own personal way. This season on Party of Gun, where we figure out who shot Jeff Stormer.
That one got me. That one, I'll be honest, that one got me.
Party of
I hope
Gun
not.
is some outside thinking. And I will add, we've now just gotten to 3 episodes, folks.
See, it's heating up now that we're really getting the chemistry with all of our co-hosts. I think that we're really feeling some excitement, you know.
Jeff, I want
I-
to see if any of our lovely potential co-hosts have a question for you really quickly.
Of course, absolutely.
I feel
I'm
like
an
we're
open book.
breezing through your questions, but you might as well see what they have to think too. Contestant number 1, do you have anything you want to know about Jeff?
I think that the most important part of any podcast is what file you record as. What extensions do you like in a podcast?
Here's the thing. I'm going to get a little controversial here. I think it's important that we, have radical honesty here at the start of our relationship. I'm going WAV file primarily because I don't understand how a lot of audio functions work, and I want to be able to just shove my thing into Levelator and then just kind of call it a day.
You're after my own heart.
Love that. Great. Bachelor number 2, any questions?
Sure. I mentioned that I'm a bit of a genre person, and I'm curious what kind of podcast you would be potentially interested in producing, and if there's any ground you haven't covered yet that you would like to try out.
That's a wonderful question. Obviously I love genre. I've been a fiction podcaster for many years. I think I would really just love, something. The thing I've been really enjoying with my work, especially in the last few years, is something very conversational, something very relaxed, something very playful. I think, like, as much as I enjoy going after the money and I enjoy like a professional production, I really I want this to be a project I have fun with, and so really it's that play space that I'm really looking for. And so playing in those genre fields and playing in that space, whether that is through a conversation or a rewatch or a game or whatever, that's I think the thing I'm most interested in.
Good response. It's all about having fun, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Bachelor number 3, any questions for me?
I've read the Jeff Stormer editing process guide front to back over and over again to learn everything I know about making a podcast. Is there anything that you still have left to learn in your life?
Like, even basic audio functionality, I think is really worth noting. Like, even like I know theoretically that Levelator is made up of 3 tools, and I think it's normalizing, limiting, and compressing. But like, if you ask me what any of those individual functions do, I'm gonna have a mild breakdown. So I
Maybe
think
maybe I can show you a bit of what I've learned.
that would be wonderful. That'd be great.
Folks, we just got a pretty big donation. We are up to 6 episodes here.
I am so happy that I put in the Rockstar stipulation that I wasn't going to be the one scheduling all of this. I feel great.
We've got a donation of $69.
Fuck yes, nice.
Nice.
I'm
We've
so
got
happy.
a lot. We've got some that even say more episodes.
Let's go. We're feeling this. Classic. Gotta go with the classic question. Gotta go with the iconic question. We're doing the dating game. I've got to ask all three of my folks the essential question. What's the wildest place that you've ever made content? We'll start with Bachelor number 2.
Scandalous.
Ooh, tough question. The wildest place in terms of online landscapes?
You answer that question how you need to answer it.
Okay. Let me think about this. DeviantArt was definitely my original stomping grounds, and I can't think of a more like wild west form of the internet. This was before there was much in the way of, I mean, there's still no social decorum online, but it was a different world, and I continued on that platform long after it remained relevant. I was pumping out the hits. I was organizing groups and maintaining them. And so I love a niche platform. I still love stuff like that. I think that's my answer.
As somebody that stayed on a very niche platform until the very dying days, rest in peace, the Penny Arcade webcomic forums. Rest in peace to a real one. I understand where you're at. I understand staying on a niche platform for way too long. Bachelor number 3, same question.
The wildest place I've ever made content. I mean, to be honest, I'm a bit of a traditional girl. I usually like my desk and I like my chair, but I've been known to cuddle up in bed, wrap myself with a blanket, and just put the microphone right up to my face in order to get recording.
Sometimes that's where the recording is going to happen, and I really do appreciate that. Bachelor number 1, same question.
I'm also a bit of a traditional girl, but I have made content in the backseat of my car before. I don't like to talk about it too often, but you know, it happens.
I guess my follow-up question is what was the sound reduction like on that, or do you get in that real good car ASMR? Because that's always been a fight against me for that.
Sound production wasn't as good as the visuals, I'll tell you that much.
That's a good answer. Great answer. Great answer. Where are we going next? Here's a good one. Bachelor number 3, what's your ideal podcast episode length? Are you short and sweet, or are you in it for the long haul?
I say that I just want a short, simple, like nice, sweet little situation. But get me going on a show and I'll just say 5 more episodes, 5 more episodes, 5 more episodes.
I mean, that was genuinely the production timeline on Party of One, and now we're 10 years in. We're gonna live with that. That number's just kind of looming. Bachelor number 1, same question.
I believe in tantric podcasting. I just think that each episode isn't really done until both of us are completely spent.
Appreciate that. Kinky. Bachelor number 2.
For me, my usual podcast listening environment is when I am cooking a meal in my kitchen and I want a podcast that's going to last the length of beginning meal prep all the way through washing dishes. For me, that's about an hour. That's my ideal podcast length. I want to serve the people what I think is useful.
I appreciate that. I appreciate a functional podcast. That
That's
makes me
right.
very happy to hear.
Mhm.
God, really great answers from all three of our bachelors. I really feel like this decision keeps getting more and more difficult.
It's gonna be hard. How many questions are we down to, Jeff?
I've got about 7 left, maybe 10 if I pull a couple more. We're cruising. We're getting some great answers. We're getting some great. How many episodes are we looking at here, Emma?
So let's take a look and see. Looks like still 6 at the current moment, but I
6
think
episodes that's very respectable. Is the thing.
that is a very respectable amount.
The
And
average.
we are about $6 away from 7 episodes.
Here's the thing: with a $6 donation, you could make this like longer than I believe it's 90% of podcasts that are in existence. If you make 7 episodes, it's 50%. If you make 7 episodes, your podcast is in the upper 50% of every podcast that has ever been produced. So with just $6, you could push us into that top 50%. You could push us into rarefied air. Bachelor number 1, talk to me about your podcast dreams.
Well, this is more of a hobby for me. I know we're being kind of anonymous here, but my father's the heir to the Tropicana fortune, so this is really more of a passion project for me. So anything that I can get off the ground and running, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe do some ads for juice in there too if we really needed to pull in some cash.
You know what? I appreciate that. I do love the honesty. I appreciate that. And also, yeah, like you're saying, great monetization opportunities. Bachelor number 2, same question.
I mentioned that I want to make the sort of podcast I would want to listen to. I would say that my podcast dream is to be the podcast that I want to see in the world. Something of a good solid length that I can put on and listen to when I'm doing another activity and enjoy and not feel like I'm missing too much and still feel like I can get my tasks done. I want to make that for other people. I want people to be able to have the choice between active listening and sort of comfort background noise.
Incredible
Answer. Bachelor number 3, same question.
To be honest, while I'm used to trying a lot of podcasts, I've always, while doing those, been interested in maybe getting to try out a nice, girthily plotted audio drama. So getting a little bit of story time in there might be nice.
I love that. That's a great answer. I love the specificity of that. That's really nice. Let's see. What's our next question? Just I want to get to know you as a person. If you could watch any TV show with me and force me to talk about it every single episode on mic for an hour, which TV show would you choose and why? Bachelor number 1.
Sorry, I'm bachelor number 1, aren't I? Listen,
That's human. I appreciate the humanity there.
I just don't like to think of myself as a number. What can I say?
I get that.
I'm torn in 2 directions. I do think that there's one element you could take this, which is to say, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me, and drag you along into something that I know you don't want to watch. But I think that instead I would like to introduce people to good television. I want, at the risk of giving up who I am, there's a television show called Patriot that I think is very fascinating, and I think that you might enjoy, Jeff. But nobody likes to check it out with me, so I think I would force you to do that. The best of both worlds for me.
Love that answer. Bachelor number 2.
Okay, so I think that any show that is objectively good, I won't struggle to find somebody to talk about it with. And so what I would put you through is my favorite slop, a objectively bad TV show that I have personal affection for due to nostalgia. I'm going to make you watch every single episode of House MD and discuss it with me in depth.
We're talking about the Pride of Princeton, New Jersey?
That's right.
I get it. Did they
Only
did
the
they
best.
ever get Stephen Fry to be the Mycroft to his Holmes like they were talking about for like 10 years? Did that ever happen?
You know, I've watched all of House MD like 3 times, and I could not tell you a single thing that happens in that show.
That's great. That's good energy. I'm glad to know this. I like Lace. Bachelor number 3.
I'm also like commitment. So I think once I've got you in that chair and I've got my hooks in you, we're gonna be sitting down and watching all over 13,000 episodes of The Young and the Restless.
That's great. I appreciate, and that's a strong commitment to like longevity, and we appreciate that you're looking not just in the short, but you're looking long term, and I see that and I appreciate it. Let's see. What's the next question on my list? If you could describe yourself as any podcast, what podcast would it be? We'll start with Bachelor number 2.
That's such a good question. I think that a podcast that I've gone back to listen to multiple times would be Heavyweight. I believe that's a Gimlet production. It's been a minute. I like this show. It's got lots of interesting little human stories, and I personally have long been in the business of making choices that make my life more interesting rather than necessarily better. And so I think that's my answer.
Bachelor number 3.
Was If I Was a Podcast?
If you were
Is
a
that right?
podcast, which podcast would you be?
If I was a podcast, I would be clear off that table and bring your friends, because I would say that I am the most like probably Moonshot's own Alone at the Table. I like my alone time.
Great answer. Bachelor number 1.
I did the podcast called The Worst of All Possible Worlds. Because kind of feels that way sometimes.
Sure, totally. I mean, it does feel that way. Emma, I gotta call out, none of those were the correct answer. The correct answer would have been Party of One, which you can find at partyofonepodcast.com. But that's
my.
okay. That's to err is human. I get that. We're gonna develop that personality over time.
Sometimes you have to grow together.
We're gonna grow together. I'm gonna throw this over to our bachelors and see if you have another question for me. What are we thinking? We'll start with bachelor number 3. We'll work our way backwards.
Podcast veteran, a veritable influencer in the space. So, if you could use your influence for evil, what evil would you spread in the world?
What evil would I spread in the world? I mean, the easy answer is that I would burn my enemies to the ground and crush their skulls under my boot, which would really just look like a lot of gossiping about them behind their backs. And that's like a step away from normal life. But I think my honest answer is just like the worst cash-in shit that you could ever possibly imagine. Like the worst commercially friendly, soulless, the Mountain Goat song Get Famous? Like that would be the energy of the podcast that I would create. Just like, if you ever see me raking in 4 million downloads a month and I just look dead behind the eyes, know that I have gone for the paycheck, I think is my answer. Bachelor number 2, any questions for me?
Sure. So much has been said so far about securing the bag, as it were. I'm curious, what is your dream sponsorship? How far are you willing to go to get it? And how much are you willing to lie during the ad read?
Oh, that is a really great question. I think my dream sponsor, legitimately, I've got to go with a thing that I actually use every day. Because my day job is in actual podcast advertising, my dream sponsor is one that I would actually have a personal connection with. Genuinely and truly, I could sell the hell out of some Mountain Dew. If you let me loose on a Mountain Dew ad, I would sell the hell out of it. Give me here's what it would look like. Let's get into the weeds a little bit on this because I think it's significant, batch number 2. We're talking a bespoke ad read every single month where I try 2 to 3 different Mountain Dews and I talk about it for 60 to 90 seconds, and then we play that in the mid-roll spot, regardless of the content of the podcast. I think that is how committed I would be to adding value to this campaign. Does that answer your question?
I think that's a beautiful and noble ambition, and I think if you followed that dream to its finish line, you could even get your own special Mountain Dew flavor.
That's the fucking dream. Bachelor number 1, any questions for me?
I'm going to pretend you said Tropicana juice for the last answer, but in the meantime, one of the things that I need to make sure of when I find a co-host is that they have a squeaky clean reputation. I can't have anyone that has too much out there. Do you have any skeletons in the closet or things on the internet we should know about, like a wiki feet page?
I don't have a wiki feet page yet. Let's see, anything on the internet that here's what I would say. Nice fucking try. What are you, a cop? I hope that answers your question. Let's see.
All right, well, Jeff, we still need $70 before we get to our 7th episode because I messed up before. I'm bad at math. So we need $70, but as we are coming up close to our end here, Jeff, I think we might be ready for our last question.
Great. I've got a really important question for all 3 of you. This is a question I think really gets to the heart of like who we all are as people, how we relate to one another. I'm gonna get a little bit vulnerable here. I'm gonna drop the act here and be like, I want to like get to know you on a really personal level. We'll start with Bachelor number 1. All 3 McElroy brothers in a steel cage, no weapons, enclosed environment, triple threat rules, knockout, pinfall, submission, force someone out of the cage, eliminates them. Last man standing, no illegal objects, but also no hold bars. Who walks away on top? Please go.
Fuck Griffin, marry Justin, kill Travis. Next contestant.
All right, Bachelor number 2, next question.
You know, this is a tough question. I think that Travis might have the physical advantage I believe he is the youngest, yes, but I think that Griffin has a dark passenger inside of him, and I think that could come into play here and really win him this match.
Really, really, really well thought out. Bachelor number 3, same question.
I'm watching the weekly shows and I know how it's going to go. The Travis heel turn when he turns on Justin, breaks up their tag team, teams up with their manager Clint, and delivers the super kick right to Justin and Griffin. He's gonna win in the end, even though I hate to say it.
I appreciate how well you visualized this in very short notice. That means a lot. I see it. Well, great.
All right, Jeff. I think it might be time. Walk us through your choice. Who are you thinking for your lovely podcast co-host?
I'm looking through all 3 of these answers. I'm feeling them. I'm feeling through them. I think like it's tough because I do feel an immediate connection to all 3 of these. Bachelor number 1, I'm feeling a real sense of humor vibe. I'm getting a real sense of like a shared energy, a shared wavelength. I'm picking up on it. Bachelor number 3, I'm like I'm seeing where you're at and I'm feeling the energy. You seem very lovely. I think I'm vibing with Bachelor number 2.
Oh, I'm so flattered.
Right. Congratulations, Bachelor number 2. Before we reveal who you are, we've received in the chat the message, I want to know who Jeff thinks each contestant is. So let's work our way up.
Okay.
Bachelor number 1, we're sorry you didn't get chosen. Thank you so much for playing today. Jeff, who do you think Bachelor number 1 is?
Bachelor number 1, I think, here's my thought process. Bachelor number 1, you mentioned the worst of all possible worlds, which is a podcast that I know 2 of my podcast homies of long time listen to. I'm sensing a very similar sense of humor. The vibe I get here is an anime sicko. I'm going with an anime sicko for Bachelor number 1.
Bachelor number 1, would you like to show Jeff who you are?
Should I open a screen? Do I need to click something?
Oh, Jeffrey.
Should I open should I open it?
It's been Andrew the whole time.
Oh, well, fuck.
I think that worked, right? Is my normal voice
That
coming
works
through
perfectly.
now? Great.
Great.
Andrew, thank you for playing the co-host dating game.
Incredible.
Thank you for having me.
Incredible.
It's been a pleasure.
Bachelor number 3, Jeff.
Bachelor
What do you
number
think?
3. That's a really good question. I feel like I feel like Bachelor number 1, I thought I had a really good handle on, and I've been worked to a point where I feel like all of my, I'm going to say only because you name dropped Alone at the Table, this might be Audrey from Alone at the Table.
Bachelor number 3. Care to let us hear your voice?
I'm sorry, Jeff.
But it's Jacqueline Swampert.
Great. The vibe is good. I'm loving this. This is great. The energy's electric.
And Bachelor number 2 has no voice changer.
It's just what I sound like. It would be a huge surprise if you knew who I was.
Well, Bachelor number 2, would you like to introduce yourself to your new co-host?
Sure. My name is Monday. I am an artist. I think I am the funniest possible choice here because I have no podcast experience, and I think I was recruited on the basis that I would have no idea what's going on here. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've
Love
never
the
made
energy.
one.
This is great. I'm excited. This has worked out wonderfully.
Baby's
Well,
first
Monday
podcast.
and Jeff, you have a wonderful 6-episode mini-series coming
Let's
out soon.
fucking go.
I'm so excited to hear how it turns out. I'll be here to help wrangle and help make it happen since you were contestants on my game show today.
Great.
Perfect. We're
But
gonna eat
thank
this up.
you so much for being here, and I hope you're excited about your new podcast partnership.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. This is going to be fun as hell.
Looking forward to it.
Moonshot listeners, viewers, thank you so much for that $160 minimum during that segment that we raised in order to get those 6 episodes on the table. Coming up next, we have our Pokemon trivia, so I believe Andrew will be coming back to the scene here soon. Stick around. Please keep donating. It's really important that we support advocates for trans equality, especially in the times that we are in. Literally every dollar counts. I promise you.
Great.